Alright, hello there. This is Mark, and, well, I'm back to voice over this episode of Fate the Traitor Soul. The reason I'm having to voice it over is because when I initially went to make the recording, I forgot to turn the mic on. And that's fine. So anyway, we're about to go back into the dungeon. It's kind of an embarrassing thing because I really wanted to this is one of those things you kind of just do live and as it happens.
You enter the portal.
And once we go down the stairs, we're going to complete the quest, because the easiest quests are escort quests on the next floor, when the previous floor is already cleared out. And the thing you'll probably see is that they're still going to be pretty much pushovers, even though this is level 7. At the time of recording, this was level 12. And I've already found the exit before. It's no fun going straight to the end.
Your pack is full.
So I went and decided to go ahead and... Well, we're going to go for this equipment. That club is almost... It's really good, but I can't use it. I don't have enough strength to use it, so... I'm going to put everything with my pet for now. I figure I'd try and get another part of this out, because if you saw the last episode of Master of Time, I got pretty frustrated, to say the least. Whereas this is just nice and simple, running for a dungeon, trying not to die. Whereas that's, you got camera issues, you got things where they basically expect you to know something that's niche.
Your pack is full.
But I'm complaining about something that's not even a part of this, so it's kind of not important, is it? And something you'll notice is that I kind of didn't deposit all my stuff from the last dungeon run, so I'm kind of having to crunch inventory space.
Your pet has departed.
I think what I was trying to point out here is that, like, we're in an ice dungeon, and that water, why is it not frozen? I don't know, but it's like every dungeon has some kind of mesh like that. Some have lava, some have water, then you got that muck. And yeah, that's when I realized, wait, there's not really anything else to do on this floor besides... Oh, hey, look, another lightsaber. Yep, they're just as common here, too. Except I only found one in this set of floors. So, nowhere near as lucky as, like, I think, what, 6 or so we found in one run? In one previous episode, so that's something.
Your pet has returned.
And that club probably contributes to all that gold. I got slightly distracted by my pet. It's still throwing me off. But I'm gonna go ahead and try and get everything we can out of this. And here I realize, oh, I can actually identify a lightsaber with the staff in my hand. So, why not? Save the scrolls for like the level 100 identification and whatnot. lightsaber is not even as worth as much as that one green club we had earlier. And here I realize archers are probably going to be my biggest threat in this set of floors. You'll see soon enough. I guess there's... Well, actually, no, that's not a
You
saving
have triggered
grace.
a trap.
I do, once I realize my mic's
You
out,
have triggered a trap.
things get a little more interesting. And yeah, my inventory's constantly getting overloaded at this point. Because the game loves its 2x3 and 2x4 inventory chunks. And here I am debating which... I was looking for all my shields and realized none of them are particularly that great right now. I'll get an alright one later in this episode.
The spell could not be completed.
We won't find a better weapon though. It's kind of hard to beat a plus 20 fire damage sword at this point. Unless you try and keep constantly enchanting something, but I don't know if you can actually add fire enchantments to fire enchanted stuff already. I might be wrong about that. And here I go into the whole resistance thing. Really, the only kind of items that have a base resistance effect stat are the artifacts.
You have triggered
You
a
won't
trap.
find a base piece of armor that grants a % bonus. If you want that, you'll have to add a gate to an item with sockets. And it's probably not worth it. Because I think even the strongest of gates only going to get you like, I want to say 3 or 4%, maybe 5. So even if you put it on everything, you're still going to end up with still not a perfect resistance. And there's stuff that still bypasses it. Not much. There's a single type of damage that does bypass it. I think it's poison. Unless your enemies, in which there's supposedly a mythical cheese damage type. A lot of the Easter eggs seem to revolve around cheese. And something that I pointed out there was the various floors vary. This one's very small. Like it might only be like maybe 2 minutes. If that. The only thing that's going to take longer is completing the quest on the floor. And even then, that won't take terribly long. I think that guy right there is it. Less of a threat than the average archer. There, I had the common sense to just go ahead and make it my main spell. And something else, you want to have as many magic find items as you can, because the more magic find items you have, the more of a chance you'll have of finding not only just basic enchanted items, but even artifacts. But it doesn't affect fishing and Fishing kind of sucks, at least in this game. The game where the fishing is actually kind of fun is Stardew Valley, but I've only been playing that recently to relax after that one abysmal Master of Time thing. We're not going to go too much more into detail on that. If you want to see what happened there, go watch it. It's the video before this one. No, I'm not going to ascend the stairs. Pretty fun thing will happen later in this episode, though. Something that you don't see terribly often, but I don't want to spoil it. Page difficulty is really slow, though. Enemies don't have a lot of XP, but they also don't pose a ton of a threat. You can see how that guy just gave me 80. Again, it takes almost 40,000 to advance to the next level. So,
Your pet has departed.
it's quite a fun deal. Why you wouldn't always want to run is beyond me, though. And also, why a stamina thing? I guess for power attacks and Traitor Soul and Curse King, but for here, I'm not even using the rage attack when you're loading. I think I have only a single good use of it in this entire video. And this floor is a little bit larger than, well, the previous one. It's about twice as large. Give or take.
Will you
And we get a magic anvil. This is going to be a particularly fun thing to look at. I think. No, that's the next one. I decided, I think I went for the ring on this one, because, I mean, we get a socket for this one, which is kind of nice. We can actually add something we want. Finding something good besides Zircon is kind of a... Poison isn't going to be worth it. Adding a damage resistance isn't really going to be worth it. And HP regen's not going to really help because I have a spell for that. And there's the item we had to find for the quest on this floor.
The quest is completed.
We could end it now if we wanted to, but I'm going to go and go for the whole floor just because, really just because I can.
Your pet has returned.
Every little point of experience counts. Not that we're going to really be hurting for it, but given how long it takes to actually grind these levels at this point, you're probably better off. Yeah, this is why you take quests and what have you. If you don't take quests, you're going to find out that you might not gain levels once every few floors, while they're still gaining all their power. And you won't gain any fame without taking it. Fame's pretty important. It doesn't directly influence your stats or anything, but it does influence your skills and when you want to identify your floors and what have you. Identify your floors, what's that mean? What I mean by that is, you know, you don't want to get left behind for your town portal spell or your identify spell. Your ever magics will eventually become outclassed, except for Poison Cloud and probably Radiant Class. As long as you have enough magic points, you can keep spamming those spells. And poison can, at a really high level, it can drain tens of HP per second. And And even on the later floors, you know, they're not going to have too much more than a few hundred apiece. Now, whether I made the right choice in trying to go for the entire floor is debatable. I mean, you can see how the experience bar has an hour to move. But we are looting the occasional magic item, which is a little bit of extra money for gambling. I guess paying for fame if we really wanted it.
That is not possible.
And as you can see, inventory space is really limited.
You have triggered a trap.
Yeah, it starts, I mean, the silence of what I'm doing right now is kind of grating, because the video isn't really, there's no sound for some reason.
That is not possible.
It wouldn't really give me any sound. I know the recording will have sound, I think, but I'm only hearing my own voice. But
Your
enough
pet
of my
has
troubles.
departed.
We're gonna send the pet to town
Trap
again,
has been
because
sprung.
you have to keep selling that stuff. Even if it's only going to get us a few thousand gold. Still a few thousand gold more towards a bit of extra gambling money.
You are overburdened. The spell could not be completed.
And here I am, not able to pick up anything because I'm already loaded. Because the birds are always dropping crossbows and shields. And everything else is just dropping everything else. Like staves. It really takes away your inventory really fast.
You have sprung the trap.
And all the resist spells are kinda,
Your pack is full.
I find them to be kinda not as helpful as they could be. Because they don't last very long. They only last as long as, say, the stamina spell. You don't
Your
gain
pet
any
has
more
returned.
resistance per point, just duration.
The spell could not be completed.
So now I make a mad dash to try and get everything that I miss. I still feel like I missed something, but maybe it's just me on that one. It's probably the corner that I didn't do anything with. Oh no, I do go over there. And yeah, there ain't much more than a few pots. So I think I just kind of cut my losses. Now we're gonna go to town, collect their quest.
Your pet has departed.
Get some new ones.
You step into the portal.
Also, we'll see what these race quests that she give are later. I want to wait until, you know, we complete the actual main campaign before we do that. Because you have to be level 52 to take the last one. And as I've stated, we're going to be level 12 the entire video. It it might get to a point where I have to do some off-screen grinding if things don't pan out. Which, ironically, that's one of the advantages of later skill levels. Even though the monsters will scale much faster, you also get more experience.
Your pet has returned.
Because they are harder. Not by much. You know, the difference between, say, a level 1 guy and a level 10 guy can be about 30 points. Then you multiply that per monster, you know, you can see where it adds up to. Let's go and sell off all of our stuff. I contemplated buying that, but I think I just gambled for a shield instead. Mostly because, you know, a shield is going to be more valuable for my character than having 2 swords. I didn't plan on this build having a dual wield set.
You have received a task.
That quest will be the death of me, as you'll see later. And it's a unicorn that can extract gems, but it'll end up destroying them. And I don't really have anything I want to extract from. Not yet, anyway.
Hi there.
And yeah, as you can see, that one run only was like not even a quarter of the bar.
You have received a task.
So, here's where I gamble. Mostly out of a case of I can more than I have to. And in here, I just kind of show off, you know, the low money gambling again. Why you'd want to wear that is beyond me. It's still worth plenty more than a basic stud, but yeah, that's kind of goes to show you know you would pay even more just for an unenchanted one. So you kind of got a deal there, even if it wasn't a good one. And now I start using a shield again for the first time in a good long while. Yeah, I don't know what really made me go through all that, but I figured it was worth it.
The portal.
And now brace yourselves for the highlight of the video. In a couple of minutes, because this is going to be one of the large floors. Yeah, this is even larger than the last one. And yeah, those birds, they can be a pain in the ass. I mean, even with, you know, a highly defensive build, you're going to get shot with the arrows more or less. You could say they have eagle eyes. But they're birds, so I guess that makes sense, doesn't it? The game really likes to clog your inventory with those kind of pole arms and whatnot that are so huge it's not even funny.
A trap has been sprung.
I mean, that's not a bad staff, but you gotta remember that it's two-handed, so I'd lose a lot of potential from that. And I already have a staff anyway. the other really big drawback to having a high magical item chance
The spell could not be
is that
completed.
monsters are just as likely to use them against you. So it adds some extra risk, because they could get a really good item. On higher difficulties, you also have to play around with the item grades, because if, let's say, a monster's using a flawless short sword, then yeah, you'll end up being dealt like twice the damage. Now, he wasn't too much trouble, but that's not the guy we were after. And here I realize I might have something better here. Because the extra percentage dexterity bonus will add the extra, points of defense for that. So I'm like, alright, we're just going to go and get rid of it. There's no reason to extract the emerald. It's a fairly cheap gem that's kind of pointless to try and salvage. Unless you're trying to go for, like, say, 80-ish% poison chance. Or 240, rather. You're better off just putting a better gem like an amethyst or sapphire, depending on what you're trying to use. Or an artifact gem if you get lucky enough to find one. Besides the gem of false hopes. I wonder if we'll find one of those this playthrough. I wouldn't doubt we would, but it takes quite a bit to find one. And it's basically the best meme item. Besides the cheese items. It's a gem that can be socketed into anything. It's completely useless. It's less valuable than... Well, no, actually, it has no real value. It sells for, I want to say 250 gold. So, I mean, it sells for as much as a cracked gem, but at the penalty of, basically, it has no magical effects. None at all. And the game doesn't deceive you. There is nothing. Oh, it's another one of the fish traps. It also has the exact same stats. We're going to sell that just because I'm already wearing one. It doesn't have any better stats. And wearing 2 pairs of gloves over one another don't stack bonuses. It'd also be stupid. Tell that to my teenager self when I try to wear 2 pairs of fingerless gloves over one another when punching the punching bag. But that was years ago. I think 10 or so years ago. The grand moment of this playthrough is coming up right about now. Or is it? No, it's still a little ways off. Yeah, even on page difficulty, things can get rough. It's mostly because of the birds. Let's go and sell off our random loot, I think. I mean, I ain't got no reason to hold on to it, so. And yeah, they sell for a reasonable amount. They're probably over 100 times more valuable than the basic leather gloves. So, you'll definitely get something out of it. Pretty sure every item in this game has some kind of artifact variation.
have sprung the trap. You are poisoned.
I think the poison gets slightly stronger as you go through the floors, but not by a terrible lot. It's when it's enemy poisons that get a lot more powerful. I'm trying to keep an eye on my health a little bit because
You cannot carry
I'm gonna definitely have issues with it later.
You have sprung the trap.
And I'm looking for the fish to see what they have, and they have one of the best fish in the game, but they don't have the flawless variation. Because the flawless variation is a permanent transform. So I'm kind of upset about that. Because who doesn't want a flaming noble steed from hell, right? Although I'm sure there are better pets than the flaming mustang. It's just one of the most common ones, and it's pretty good too. This is the moment I was thinking of. You'll see that, basically I just got wiped out. So what? Did I even heal? Maybe I healed. No, I couldn't have healed myself. Alright, now try and spam fireballs to save my life. Nope.
You have died.
I died. Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Choose your fate.
Anyway, when you die, you get 3 choices. You also are told to choose your fate. You could save scum here. You could pay up experience in Thane if you really wanted to. You could pay gold and get a random warp. But you can't retrieve it. That's the main caveat here. Or you could choose the 3 levels upwards choice, but your gold will be left behind. However, I find that this fair choice is probably your least consequential outcome, besides save scumming, of course. Mostly because if you do that, if you've already cleared a bunch of floors in rapid succession, you ain't got to worry about there being enemies again, and you can basically waltz right back to where you died and get your money. And really, you could, if you were to say be poisoned and use a town portal scroll and die from the poison in town, your gold's right where you left off. There is 0 penalty. So, I'm gonna take this for a choice because I'm not safe scumming, and the other 2 choices are just, it takes too long to build experience, and the death tax is even worse. I only save scum for terrible games, not misguided ones, and this isn't even misguided. Anyway, let's go ahead and choose my fate, I think.
The choice is made.
And as you'll see, we'll warp back on level 7, right at the start of the floor. And we can basically just waltz straight back. There's pretty much going to be no consequence to my actions at all. Or as if I remember correctly when I was making the video, death really has no consequence. At least not in Fate. I remember when I first played and I wanted to start from the floor that was already on, and let's say I chose the fame and experience option a lot. And then I was like, why am I not getting any experience in my bar? Until I realized it's taking experience from previous levels too. It isn't even just taking that level's experience. It isn't just taking that level's fame. And here we are already back on level 10. And maybe this time will work out a little better. As you'll see, it will. Also, look at that pile of gold. That's one nice pile of gold. Also, if I had just ran up to the guy, I could have finished him off before I died. So, it's kind of fun. Anyway, it's going things like that. And here we are. We're pretty much about done with the... Oh, why would you even want to dispel your own creatures? There's no reason you ever would. Well, actually there is.
You have sprung the trap.
If you save and quit the game and come back, your summoned creatures will no longer be under your control for some reason. Whether that's a bug or something is... I couldn't tell you. I'd like to think it is, though. And here we go again. A nice and short floor. This is like the smallest kind of floor, though. And now they're starting to actually bring wolves back into it. Here's the moment I alluded to earlier. Free of, the rare events. All right by the stairs. So, I go for the amble first, and...
That is impossible.
What do I decide to enchant?
Your
I think it's my
departed.
belt. I might be wrong, though. No, it's my ring again. My
Fate has
I received extra enchantment. Except I don't. Literally no change. And yet fate smiles upon me. Now, for the fate statue, what will we get? Alright, past self, what are you waiting for?
Will you tempt fate?
And we get a boss. A very easy boss. Item ain't really worth it, but still. We get some fame, we get some XP.
Will you
and for our Shrine of Learning, we get some extra dexterity. And those aren't considered like buffs, those are permanent increases. You can also learn skills that way, but you also have a chance of losing skills in stats, so you may not want to. Although, I find that I don't lose as much as I gain. So, I'd say go for it. You aren't going to get another chance. And if the worst thing that happens is ruin a build with a skill you didn't want, you don't have to use what that skill revolves around, you know. Just be glad you didn't lose anything, I guess. Alright, pass up. Let's go back into the next floor. And we get a heroic presence on this floor. Now, so that means we have 2 goals for this floor. We have a shrine we're supposed to help recharge, and we have a monster we have to kill for the heroic item. Still plenty to loot along the way. Might as well give my pet a ring for some extra defense, but that's not a terrible sword, but it's not as good as what I'm using. Not by a long shot. And we get one of those rare treasure rooms again. Although the treasure isn't particularly useful. Yeah, it's a long, narrow floor, but it's not as bad as a giant floor. I honestly prefer the absolute small ones, because I feel like they're better for shorter bursts than the ones that might take more than 20-30 minutes to explore every corner. Also, earrings weren't worth it. Not even for my pet. It'll be a while before we find the shrine, though. Yeah, we're gonna need the stamina spell for this one. Also, if the original Fate is saying some of these are supposed to be like fairy tales and myths. I remember one of the first spots I had when I played the original, I was like, I don't recognize these fairy tales and myths. Obviously, I didn't understand the concept of fantasy back then, but it's just as much as like, say, a wolf eating a grandma, and yet the grandma not being dead by the time the hunter saves him. So, bit of a random tangent. Also, our pet has some really nice dexterity now. You'll almost always hit, but unfortunately, a high attack stat does not influence the damage stat. Not by a long shot.
You have sprung the trap.
And something to note about the cursed swords, their level is the same as the current floor, so regardless of difficulty, you'll always encounter, say, on floor 12, you're always going to get a 12 level cursed sword. So if you're playing it, say, legendary or hardcore, they may be weaker than what you're already fighting. On easier difficulties, when you may not have grinded for experience, they could be harder, just depending. So, keep an eye out for that, I suppose. Also, we're getting some of the common enemies at these levels now. I think that's back supposed to be. No. That's the guy we're supposed to defeat for the heroic item, but it's definitely not the shrine we're looking for. Probably won't be for a few more minutes before we find that. And the thing is, the sad thing you'll see later, I walk right by it. Not just now, but I've already been to its spot on the map. And I'm gonna wander around like an idiot looking for it. So, feel free to laugh a little bit. This one isn't going to give me anywhere near as much trouble as the last one. It's too busy running.
You are overburdened.
Oh, my inventory is packed.
The spell could not be completed.
That's the thing I gave my pet that chain as well.
That is impossible.
Because I guess a pet should be able to dodge stuff a little bit better. And I'm going to have to send my pet to town again.
Your pet has departed.
Because the game's just throwing too many large items at me. And they don't get any smaller. And there are no inventory upgrades either. This crap
The
is
spell
it might
could not be completed.
Also, that staff ain't any better. So. And that's gonna be the only good use of the rage attack this video. It's best used if you're surrounded. The archer has the best. It's a giant knockback ring. And here I am realizing, wait, where is it? And you walk right over it past self. It's all the way on the other side of the map. In a place you've already been. So, I'm about to cut in a few seconds. Because I figure I'd spare you the trouble of having to see it. Because there ain't nothing in there. What did they use that room for? We never find out. You're so close past self. You're almost on top of it. Oh, you idiot. You walk right by it. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I could have made this so much shorter. Here we are, I found it. And it's pretty simple as ever. I'm just gonna spam the hell out of cursed swords because I'm lazy. I don't feel like running around to kill a sewer rat when sword chop them up.
You have triggered a trap.
Now that I think about it, I don't know if I've never really tested like summonals against higher level things. Like say like one cursed sword versus a trap. With it going, the trap sword going after my summon.
The quest is completed.
Interesting to see, but I didn't think to try it out. And now we're gonna go back to the floor's exit because the video's starting to get kind of long, and I decide, you know what? Let's go and collect our rewards, and I'm gonna end the video. And then I realized I didn't have the mic on. And because it's something that you kind of can't go back in time with. See, I could do that with Zelda,
Your
but
pet has departed.
if I don't save. But this,
You enter the
it's an
portal.
autosave. You can't. Game won't let you. Come on, game. You can load. I'm debating whether I should cut them
Your
out.
pet has returned.
I mean, most of the games I play, it's almost nothing. And our first
Your
reward
pet has
is
increased in power.
not a particularly good hat. And our second reward is... Oh, well, here's the quest. We're taking that quest.
You have received
I want
a
that
task.
Valor Blade. We're not getting it this part, though. We'll get it in the next one. Valor Blade's nice.
You have received a task.
We'll take that quest, too. And let's have yours as well.
What's your name?
You have received a quest.
And I think this is going to be about it for this episode. Have fun hearing past self. Oh my. I didn't even have the headset on this whole time. Never failed to amaze me. Oh, fuck. Alright, so, anyway, see you in the next part. What did we accomplish in this part that I wasn't able to bring out? I did 6 more floors. I didn't have the headset on, and I've died. Or maybe I had it on, and I turned it off during something. I don't know. Anyway, I apologize if that ended up being the case. But this is going to be the end of this part because I think it's almost 40-ish minutes long now. I'll see you in the next one.